Hello, welcome to EducAd Consulting. My name is Yuliya, I am the co-founder. Today we are going to talk about sixth form and the options for sixth form, whether at your school or if you want to change school. Now, there are three main options in the UK that you can choose for sixth form. They're A-level, IB, and or BTEC. There are also American schools which offer AP or high school diploma, but we're not going to cover them yet. Sixth form is the last 2 years of education in the UK. So after GCSEs, typically children who want to pursue academic path and go to university, they choose to stay in school or go to college or change school for their sixth form education. It's typically for children in the age of 16 to 18. It's not compulsory. Compulsory education ends at GCSE, and as I mentioned, it could be prompt to change schools for different reasons. Now, sixth form is year 12 and 13 in the UK, and we are going to discuss today what are your options. So most of the schools in the UK offer A-levels, and some schools, private particular ones, offer IB, and BTEC is relatively new. It's been around for a while, but compared to A-levels, it's relatively new, and it's a program which is also offered by many schools, private and state in the UK, and it's a little bit different, and we'll discuss that in a minute. All three programs are typically taken at sixth form from the age of 16 to 18. A-level, the traditional British path to university. Now, it's 100% exam-based, which for most subjects, not art, but most subjects. So what it means is that when a child or a young adult starts sixth form at the age of 16 in year 12, they would study the whole of year 12 for 3 terms. Then they will have exams, but they will be internal exams. And then in year 13, they would start having mock tests and exams in around January. And then the last term of year 13 will be spent on exams only, where there's sometimes 3-4 exams in one subject. And basically that decides their future, so to say. Sorry to be a bit dramatic about it, but that's what 100% exam-based means. There are typically 3 to 5 subjects you can choose from, and some A-levels or international A-levels, particularly in either British online schools or some international schools, can actually be taken over a course of 2 years. So some schools offer international A-levels, and AS exams are taken in the first year of A-levels, and then you can take further exams, further modules in the second year. That's still 100% exam based, but spread over 2 years. 3 to 5 subjects is usually the norm. Universities base their offers on the choice of 3 subjects, but of course when you apply to university and you have 4 predicted grades, for example, then it looks better. We have a separate video about university applications and predicted grades, so subscribe and find it on our channel, please. Now, A-levels, it's deep learning of certain subjects because you only have 3 or 4, but at the same time it's quite flexible as well. So you don't have to decide on your 100% on your career path when you choose A-levels, but you have to make sure that the subjects that you will definitely need for studying further in university are one of your choices. There are some subject choices which would probably be good for anything that you do, like maths, for example. If you want to study economics, maths is compulsory for top universities, more important than economics itself. And then for other courses, even if it's law or humanities, having an A-level in maths shows you as a hardworking academic student, and it's a good option to have. Now, as I mentioned, there are 3 main, usually there are 3 choices, but quite often people go for 4. If you're going into academic route of studying sciences or mathematics or economics, and your school offers further maths, you most likely have to take it, because it will look very strange on your university application profile that you don't have further maths as a 4th subject, even though your school offered it. Now, of course, you can base your choice of choosing the options based on your GCSE results, your personal interest, not just university requirements. Then some degrees, like medicine, for example, would require a combination, which is pretty solid. It's chemistry, maths, and biology is very advisable. Then you would want to check the syllabus of the actual subject that you're going to study. So quite often people might like the idea of studying sociology or psychology or business studies, but then politics is another one. And then when they read that politics, for example, is based on British politics mainly, or history is based on only certain period of history, they change their mind. So please do have a look at the exam board offered at your school in the particular subject that you want to study, and see how it will look like. Is there going to be coursework? Is there going to be only exam that decides your mark in that subject? And then make a informed decision there. You won't be able to take French, let's say, at A-levels if you don't have GCSE in French. So that's another consideration to have. Based on your GCSE results, you can either take or won't be allowed to take A-level subjects. And talk to people, talk to your teachers, talk to to all the students in your school, talk to educational consultants, and search online of what it will actually look like. Music in GCSE in A-levels, what will it look like? Do you need it? Will it be accepted by by universities or not, etc. Now there's some, obviously take it with a pinch of salt, but there's some subjects to be cautious about or try to avoid for certain degrees. For example, soft subjects or subjects that are considered not solid, so soft, so to say, not very academic. Some universities would not accept general studies or critical thinking. So even though you like it, maybe take it as a fourth subject, not third. And then some universities with kind of hard requirements, I don't know, London School of Economics to study economics, business or media will be considered as a soft subject. So compared to other students who would be applying with probably 4 predicted grades, including maths and further maths and maybe 2 sciences, your application will look weaker. So you kind of reduce your chances. It's a bit unfair, but if you want to study media, it's great. But again, maybe consider taking it as a 4th subject or something on the side if you want to go into certain academic hardcore kind of routes. Now, there's some subjects that are considered to be overlapping. So again, business and economics, for example, or accounting, or something that is like just in one field. If it's sciences, 3 sciences, that's fine because they're not really overlapping, although they're sciences. But if they're kind of softer subjects, they will not be considered as a strong profile by many universities. And then, of course, subjects that are not related to your future. As I gave you an example with medicine, for example, you need to have, to stand a good chance at good universities, you need to have 2 sciences and chemistry compulsory and maths as well. So if you have, even history, which is a strong subject, it's not going to help you with applying to medical degrees. Pros and cons for A-levels, of course, it's different for everybody. And it also depends on what your school offers. But you can see pros: specialization, flexibility, and deep learning. And cons, they're limited subjects. So if you want to study 4 or 5 subjects, IB is probably a better option for you, where there are 6 compulsory subjects. So IB has 6 compulsory subjects. 3 are studied at high level, and 3 are studied at standard level. So a bit, less time is spent on them than on the higher level subjects. Now, higher level subjects are not equivalent to A levels. They're still lower in depth, or in terms of hours you have to spend on them, but they give you an opportunity to explore more subjects. Typically 4 would be compulsory. That's maths, English, one of the sciences, and a foreign language. So if you're good at languages, if you like sciences, you have to basically have these four, and then two other options would be in something else. You can choose another science, you can choose further maths, you can choose another language, not very common, but it happens, or you can go for history or or something softer. It's quite a broad and wide program, so to say. It's marked by 45 points overall at the maximum. I think the latest statistics was like less than 1% in the world score 45 points. So it's very hard to get 45 points. Everything above kind of 42 is considered exceptional. And the top mark you can get in each subject is 7 points. And downwards, and the 7 times 6 is 42, and the extra 3 points you would get from the program, which is theory of knowledge, extended essay, and creative activity services, where you have to perform, write coursework, and kind of pass theory of knowledge test and coursework as well. So quite different to A-levels. In A-levels, obviously, there are also extracurricular subjects, but or options, but not compulsory ones. In IB, they are compulsory. It's quite holistic, as you can see. It has transferable skills, of course. So even if, after IB, you can go and study medicine, you can go and study economics, but the people or university admission team will know that you have those skills, and, even in studying sciences, you would have skills in essay writing because you had to do it for your IB. It's a bit broad and heavier load because of the amount of things you have to do. In terms of the hours spent on IB or A-levels, they're pretty much the same in order to get good marks. But with A-levels, you can focus on your subjects only. With IB, it's more broad. Now, one of the most common questions we ask is, do I need to have IB only to go to American university, or do I need to have A-level only to go to British universities? The answer is no. As long as you have great grades that are accepted by university you want to apply to, it can be either IB or A-level. IB is a little bit better, or prepares you a little bit better for American universities, just because of the breadth of the program. In America, as you might know, you don't qualify in a major course until end of year 2. The whole course is 4 years, and therefore, basically, after IB, you kind of come into year 1, and you're still studying the breadth of different subjects and knowledge. Where after A-level, after studying 3 subjects for 2 years, you might come to American university and be like, oh, what's history about? I haven't studied it for 2 years. But it's still absolutely fine, and top grades in A-level will be enough to, top grades and supercurricular and essay and entry exams will be enough to get into good unis in America. Likewise, British universities accept IB programs, no problem at all. BTEC is the other one, which is becoming very popular in British schools. It's a practical-based vocational qualification. Historically, it was considered not as strong as A-level or IB, but it's gaining its popularity and strength, I would say. And more private schools offer it, and also you can take it as a combination with A-levels, which is quite good. So, for example, you could have 2 A-levels in subjects you're more confident in, and then 1 BTEC in subject that maybe you're less confident in. And the reason for that would be that in BTEC, you don't need to take all your exams at the end of year 2. You could kind of accumulate your marks during the 2-year course. And then it's, coursework based, and also the school plays a big role in your final grade as well in BTEC. Now, how it will work with UCAS is that you'll have a combination of UCAS points with A-levels and BTEC, and then you will see whether you qualify for that particular university you want to apply to, a particular course you want to apply to as well. Pros and cons, they're very general. They will be different for you, of course, as well. So please don't forget that, what looks good, what we're saying on the paper, on the screen, might not work for you. But basically, BTEC, as I said, theoretically, less academic, so top universities would still frown upon it or not accept it at all. There's coursework pressure, so it's not like it's an easy course. You will have to be writing, ideally without AI or maybe just with a little help, but it's your work that you need to put the time and effort into. But it's more practical based. It's spread, the assessments are spread out, and you also might have a wider range of subjects in BTEC. And as mentioned before, it can be combined with A-levels. Which one to choose? Lots of different criteria have to be kept in mind. Your future goals, if you're going for top universities, BTEC is not an option for you. You can check with university requirements before you sign up to either BTEC or IB or A-level and weigh in your expectations of yourself. If you have an idea of which universities you want to apply to, quite often we have consultations with children in year 11 at the end of GCSE, where we go through their options for A-levels and help them to decide either the program or the subjects as well. Of course, one of the main criteria is what is offered at your school. Is IB an option? No. Would you want to change school in order to study IB? Some people do, and just for that reason, and that's great as well. Some people change school for sixth form even if they want to do A-level, and it's offered in their school as well. It's a good actually time, I think, to change schools either from state to state, because there are some sixth form colleges that only offer A-level or BTEC, for example, and you might not want to stay in your secondary school and just go to college where there's only sixth form pupils. Quite often children try to apply to grammar schools for sixth form. That's another entry which is offered at grammar schools, or also if you're in private school and then you are thinking of saving money on state school, you can try going to grammar, and vice versa. From state schools, children quite often get into grammar into private for the last 2 years of sixth form. Which one to choose? We have discussed a few options why you might want to go for A-level or IB or BTEC. If you're undecided about your future, you really don't know what you want to study in university, IB would probably be a good option, because then by the end of lower 6, year 12, you would have a better idea where you want to apply, and you would still have maths and English and science behind you to help you guide your choices in university. Also, if you're not sure about your career path, then A-levels choices can actually help you decide what to do based on what's accepted, based on your subjects. Lots of reasons to change schools at sixth form, and of course one of the main ones is the program, but also changing from single sex to co-ed, for example, new environment, more challenging. Quite often that's the main choice, try to get into more challenging selective schools, but also extracurricular. If you're an athlete related to one of the sports and you play competitively, then choice of schools for sixth form could also be an option for you. There are different ways of spending your sixth forms, in terms of it doesn't have to be only day schools. Quite often people opt for boarding schools or online schools if they're athletes, etc. So please do ask us if you're in doubt, and we will be able to recommend the best path tailored to your life. And this is a rough timeline of 16 plus application, where in May, September, sometimes in end of May, some schools close their applications. Most of them last till September, October. You have to apply to a new school, whether it's state or private. For private schools, there will be exams around October time. Different schools have different exams. Some of them want to test you in each subject that you chose for A-levels. Some of them have one cognitive ability exam test. Some of them have an online test where it's math and science and English kind of all combined together. Some might just have an interview in rare cases. And likewise, into some schools you will have to write a personal statement, not only exams. So think of it in advance if you want to change schools at 16 plus, we would suggest at least in summer you start looking and talking to people about it, but maybe even before, particularly if you're coming from abroad, it would be great to actually adjust to the British system and prepare for exams through tutoring online before you're applying, if you're going for top selective schools, either boarding or day. And then November, December is around the time where you take exams and then in some cases invited for interview. By usually December, sometimes January, you are given an offer and then you have to accept your offer. Offer is often conditional based on the, even though you've taken entry exams, they would still want you to end your GCSE years with certain grades. So it's not like you can relax and forget about it. And of course you would need your GCSE grades for university application and the first certificate that stays with you, academic certificate that stays with you forever. So they're very, very important. If you have any questions or would like to have a consultation to talk about your academic path and create a strategy of how to approach change of school at sixth form or choosing the right program, please get in touch. I will be very happy to help you. And do subscribe to our channel because we'll have lots of videos about university applications and everything else you need later on. Thank you. Bye-bye.